How does one measure a man? How do we define a legacy? How can you describe a legend? Many, if not all iRacers participating in the open setup world at some point or another came across videos, posts, helpful conversations, emails, and practice sessions with David Cater. All of these served to make each of us a little better at our craft, one patient answer at a time. How does one measure a man? A pillar, a backbone to the iRacing community since its beginning. David Cater is immeasurable. How do we define a legacy? All one needs to do is watch a race or practice where open setups are involved, and they'll find David Cater's legacy. His fingerprints are all over the iRacing open setup community. Some of them big, some of them small, but most of them are big. How can you describe a legend? David Cater was kind, patient, passionate, selfless, and a leader. He was fiercely competitive and just as fiercely loyal. He made everyone around him better. David was willing to listen and willing to help at the drop of a hat. The list grows and grows. So how can you describe a legend? David Cater meant something to each and every one of us. We all describe him uniquely. David will be greatly missed by family, friends, teammates, competitors, all striving to hit the bar he set so humbly. Rest and race in peace, Mr. Cater. Those are the beautiful words written by David Morin, teammate at Lowline Racing, and, well, PTR TV and iRacing Live. On a slightly humble and heartbroken note, we do present David Cater's final ride here at the Chicagoland Speedway, but it is not all reason to be saddened. It is not all reason to look down, because David would want the race to go on. He would want the show to go on, and well, that is what we have assembled here tonight. We are racing in two separate splits of action here tonight. We have races here on PTR TV. We have a race going on live on the iRacing Esports Network put on by our partners at Global Sim Racing Channel, and we are helping to alleviate the pain felt by losing David Cater, and we are helping his family. There is a whole bunch of money that has been graciously donated in this event to go to the family at their time of need. So if any viewers want to also help, you can look in the description of the video. But Brandon is my colleague today in the booth with me, Brandon Krutz, and well, although the occasion behind this event is not necessarily one that anyone would want, it's still going to be a good event, and there's going to be a lot of drivers going for the victory, a lot of drivers going for the pride and what goes with winning a very special event.
Yeah, Corey, absolutely. And you know, there's a lot of good drivers that I'm seeing in the field already. This should be a really good race in general. It's a really good track, and like you said, although the occasion is not one that we want to see, it's going to be a heck of a battle out there today.
Yeah, so what is the event? It is David Cater's final ride, and final drive rather, at Chicagoland Speedway in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup machines. Well, as we know, David was, I mean, he's most known from his work on the iRacing setup design, on this iRacing setup field, and he didn't actually get to drive this setup. If you were in the official side of things, Chicago was week one of the Monster Energy Cup machines, and this was the final setup he has ever, and unfortunately will ever have created for the iRacing simulator. So these guys will be taking to the track for 134 laps of action here at this circuit. And well, Brandon, as we know, with Chicago, there's a lot of tire wear involved, there's a lot of bumps involved, and it will open up the lanes and allow these drivers to navigate all the aspects of this track and make these passes.
Yeah, Chicagoland Speedway, a pretty good multi-groove racetrack here on the iRacing service also, and oh man, it's gonna be close. I see a lot of, like I said, a lot of really good drivers throughout the field, and I think it's gonna be really competitive here tonight. Everybody gonna be trying to go for that W.
Yeah, as we do pull up the qualifying graphic here, you can see Adam Benefiel on the provisional pole with a 29.287, has about 0.2 of a second as a buffer over the remainder of the field. So that's obviously something good to see in his neck of the woods. But with the tire wear here, as Brandon was just alluding to, that's going to have to really be something to be concerned about. A guy who can hot lap may not have what you need later in the run, so he's going to have to keep those tires in check, because if this does go green, which I would interpret that is going to have a pretty good green flag stretch, those tires are not going to put up with Q laps for that long.
Yeah, so these drivers are going to have to try to conserve their stuff here, and of course 134 laps of racing action here tonight is going to be a little bit tougher on these guys than you know, just a normal dash for the win here, Corey. It's going to be a tough one out there.
Yes, it is. These guys are really going to have to fight this speedway, fight these cars, obviously with all the horsepower and all the dynamics that go behind the A car. These guys will have to fight that, and of course doing the best they can to make David proud, make sure that they're putting on a race that he would be proud to watch. So that's what they're going to be trying to do, and there are some tributes in line. I think we do have a special pace lap formation that these guys will be putting underway for us once we do go green, but we do have about 1.5 minutes left of the qualifying session, and as we said, about 20 drivers, I believe, are going to make this race. Adam Benefiel top of the board right now, and we will just quickly show you the weather conditions. 75 degrees on the track, well, 75 degrees in the air rather, 97 on the track, about a 2.5 mile-an-hour wind. I am trying my hardest. I have had a bronchitis for the past week, so I'm trying to suppress a cough, so if my voice sounds a little bit off, that is what it is. I'm trying not to cough crazy here, so forgive me a little bit for that. But Brandon, something that we may have underway for us to talk about tonight is the iRacing dynamic sky model. I can see a couple clouds in the sky, and we know those can actually take some effect into the track and how this track drives.
Yeah, Corey, if any of that cloud cover does roll in, cast a shadow over this racetrack, or even just certain parts of this racetrack, it'll cool that track temperature down. Those guys will experience a little bit of a change, and it's something that we're going to have to look out for.
Yes, that is definitely something I noticed here. The track temperature will dynamically change, and you're going to have to keep yourself on top of that and follow the clouds as they do progress through the sky, and don't expect just based on what time of day it is, I don't think we're going to have too much in the way of lighting change, so that shouldn't cause too much effect. But this is the changeover right here, and these guys are going to get lined up onto the starting grid, so we're going to give it to you, the PTR TV on iRacing Live starting lineup here for David Cater's final drive. It's going to be on the pole here tonight with a lap time of 29.287. It's going to go to Adam Benefiel in the number 83. Congratulations to him on that lap time. And Colin Allman on the outside of the front row. Jonathan Kettle in third. Kevin Hill rolling off in P4. And then we have Aaron Rodgers and Mason Stiver in sixth. Nathan Gurgensen and Anthony Fredericks in 7th and 8th.
Starting in the 9th position, it's going to be Ricky Hart Jr. Starting in 10th is going to be John Theodore. Gary Cronwet going to be starting in 11th. Tim Marlowe starting in 12th. Jonathan Dicker starting in 13th. 14th is going to be Derek Conley. Starting in the 15th position, Randy Wilkins. And starting in 16th is going to be Scott Wise. Corey?
And rounding out your field here tonight at Chicago, Logan Clampett in the 17th spot, Brian Zimmerman in 18th, Paul Bliss in 19th, John Groh in 20th, and then shotgun on the field is going to be Kyle Lowry.
This is your starting lineup, ladies and gentlemen. David Cater's final drive, and it's going to be one heck of a battle out there on the racetrack. These guys ready to rock and roll, sitting here behind the iRacing official pace car, and going to take one pace lap around. The pace car is going to duck in, and we're going to get ready for some racing action.
Well, I do want to asterisk that, Brandon, because based on what we were told, there is going to be 2 salute laps run to start this race out. So as far as I'm still aware, that is going to happen. So we're going to keep eye on that, and these guys will pay a green flag salute to Mr. Cater, and then we will get racing after that. So here we are driving here at Chicago. These guys have pulled off of the grid, and again, we are gonna pause and appreciate the tribute that will be underway once the pace car does pull in. Brandon is just getting final confirmation right now on precisely what is going to occur. But we do have the 83 of Adam Benefiel. He did have that amazing qualifying lap, over a 10th faster than the 67, and Brandon's back with the final confirmation.
Yep, so these guys are going to go around, and you're going to see the pace car duck in. It's going to come back out. These guys are going to line up for a 3-wide salute in David Cater's honor. And, well, we're going to see what happens here. It should be pretty cool to see.
All right, and as that does happen, we will go quiet. So the pace car will pull in. We will not have the green flag. We will be airing a 3-wide salute to Mr. Cater. That was definitely a cool sight to witness as these guys took a 3-wide for salute to Mr. Cater. But we are, so essentially what has happened is, think of it as a scenario that happens under many rain delays at NASCAR tracks, where the green flag will be officially flown, laps will begin to count, but the green flag hasn't actually been thrown to begin the race. So that is effectively what happened. We have begun counting laps, but we have yet to take the green flag. So once the pace car does give him one to go and then does exit the circuit for this next time, which should be in about 2 laps, we will get the official initial restart, if you will.
The official initial restart. I kind of like that one, Corey.
I've said it a couple times in varying scenarios, but I still always get so confused when I say it. But that effectively is what is happening. We have not started the race. It is a restart, but it's the initial start, but it is a restart. So,
yeah,
that is exactly so. Again, I want to thank everyone who has tuned in. A lot was put into this. David Morin, who is, I believe, racing on the GSRC side, which is, you can watch that on the iRacing Esports Network. He put a lot of time into setting this up. David was a teammate of his on Lowline Racing, and he wanted to do something special. And obviously, with everything that happened, he's a busy man in and of himself. But he managed to throw all this together, and a lot of people helped him out behind the scenes. And like I said, there was an entry fee into this race. That there is a couple prizes going to, I believe, the top 3 finishers. But I know many have already stated that they are going to donate any of their winnings to the Cater family. Obviously, they're in a significant time of need now. Again, in the description of this video, you will see the GoFundMe. So if that is something that you are able to do, obviously it would be greatly appreciated by the Cater family and put to good cause. But we will see who that prize money is offered to later in the race, because, well, we got to run the race first. We haven't run it yet. We've got 4 laps of caution in the books, but I do see the lights out on the pace car, and it looks like these guys are going to take it single file to get this thing going.
Does look like that's what's going to happen, Corey. And caution flag has been thrown once again. We're staying under the yellow flag this time, I think, to try to get everybody lined back up. I was a little bit confused at first as to what was going on, but kind of makes sense now. As lights up on top of the iRacing pace car are still on. These guys gonna go one more time around before we get to the green flag racing.
And maybe it will be they will be able to get doubled up and stacked up and ready to go back green flag racing as a, well, I guess they can't go back green flag racing because we haven't yet done that yet. So
the official initial green flag has not been thrown.
All of our sayings are just completely out to the wayside right now.
As normal.
So the lights are out, and single file formation is still what is on the docket right now. So I guess that's how we're going to get going, which is fine with me. We'll get these guys strung out, and it's always fun to see Chicago get those long runs, green flag stops. The guys will get slipping and sliding as this track wears in, and the grip and the rubber. Oh my goodness, this is part of being sick and being on too much NyQuil. The grip starts to wear off as the rubber starts to wear off.
Hang in there, Corey. Still got a few more laps to go here.
Yeah, and then we get... You'll start seeing that groove go all around the track, and this is one of my favorite tracks to drive on, and a very fun track to cover in the booth. So I think we're going to get it going this time by, and we'll watch that Mustang pace car take the hard left into pit lane, and here we are getting ready for David Cater's final drive here. The green flag is in the air, and we are finally racing.
Adam Benefiel gets the good jump on the restart there. He'll pull away to about a 3-car length lead heading down into corner number 1. Second placeman right back behind him now, going to try to play catch up.
Yes, he is. And again, this is just going to be the debate of how hard do you want to push it this early in the run? How much do you want to waste those tires? But I saw some brief 3-wide action going on. That was Kevin Hill, Mason Stiver, Jonathan Cadell in the 51. Or rather, Jonathan Cadell in the 11. They were racing door-to-door off of corner number 4. They're 3 wide at the line still.
Oh, one car getting loose down to the apron now. Manages to save it.
That's the number 9 machine of Mason Stiver.
Oh, wrecking behind him now. The 0-1 going to shoot back up out of the track. They're wrecking.
That's 3 drivers. That's the 28 machine of Derek Conley around. The 38 of Randy Wilkins. Quick caution, not expecting that to start this race off, but We'll go back on replay, try to figure out what happened. You can see the 0-1. He was already due sideways there in the center of 1 and 2. He was all the way down there on the flat, and he got back up on the banking, and well, it didn't seem to take to his car too well. He just recovered right up in the path of the 92. That was of Dickert. But well before that, that 9 machine was already sideways.
There was a lot going on there to bring out that yellow flag, but pace car back out onto the racetrack now, and we're going to try this one more time.
And we are on replay watching the 9, and same exact thing. He got loose on the inside, trying to cut the apron there on the front stretch, and well, seen that twice already in the course of 1 lap. Clearly that does not work with this new build and how this setup reacted here.
These guys bringing it down pit road now, and Adam Benefiel going to be the one leading them down into pit road. These guys all going to try to nail their stops, nail the pit stalls here, and looks like no major issues on pit road. I see maybe a couple of drivers that missed their stalls. Other than that, that's about it.
Well, I do assume 4 tires and fuel from everybody. The 4 machine of Brian Zimmerman. From at least what I can see on the telemetry side of things, it didn't look like he actually stopped in his box at all, just drove straight through pit road. But also the 0-1 of Gary Crowenwet, it looks like he just stayed out.
The 0-1 was just involved in that last wreck there, going down through corner number 3, and he's got a little bit of rear end damage. Spoiler's a little bit bent up there, and I'm assuming he's going to maybe take it down the pit road this time by.
Yeah, we'll have to find out. You could, as you said, Brandon, with that little bit of damage, and it does look like that he will do exactly that and pull down the pit road.
So that hands a lead once again to Adam Benefiel into that number 83 machine. Right behind him is Colin Allman and Jonathan Cattle running out the top 3.
Yes, it is. So again, just a quick. Well, that was I really wasn't expecting that kind of start to the race, Brandon. I mean, we don't have too many guys here, but again, I think it just might be how the setup works here. Some setups, they do allow you to cut that dog leg, or cut the front stretch rather, go all the way down there to the apron, get some time, but doesn't appear that that's going to be an approach that these guys could pull off here today.
No, Corey, I think you're right. The setup on these cars really does not seem to like the transition from that little bit of banking down to the flat and back up. These guys going to really have to be careful of that today, and well, it'll be interesting as the race progresses. Also, these guys getting a little bit of loosey-goosey going back onto the racetrack.
Yes, they are, and that is definitely going to be something that they must have already learned that is not going to be a thing here today. They're going to have to stay on that racetrack, and otherwise it's going to be a really, really dangerous call if you want to take it down there, see if it's actually going to be worth it or not. But let's see what the pace car does, if it does give us the one to go. And it did.
Will be one to green this time by. The field going to get stacked up, doubled up, ready to go back. Green flag racing here from the Chicagoland Speedway. Saw a short green flag run the first time around. We're 11 laps into this 134 lap race.
Yes, we are. So the attrition is actually, we don't really have any attrition quite yet. We had 18 drivers take the grid and 18 drivers still on the track. Actually, I'll take that back. 17 drivers still on the track. Randy Wilkins, serious repairs in the pits. Not sure if he's going to be able to get back onto the circuit, but we will find that out. These guys doubled up for this restart per usual. So again, Benefiel to the inside, Allman to the outside, and we're coming through 3 and 4 here. About to complete lap 11, take lap number 12. So Brandon will get us going for this second restart.
Pace car going to be making its way down back into the pit road, coming down off of corner number 4, this time by Adam Benefiel, going to be the one leading him back to the green flag. He is your leader and your control car. Pace car is in, waiting for the drop of the green flag back in the air. We're underway once again from Chicago.
And the jump goes to Benefiel on the inside groove. Top 3 will go single file, get a bit of a gap over 4th place of Anthony Fredericks in the 20. They will all go single file backward.
Oh, your second placeman going to be taking it up the racetrack. He clipped the apron. He got really loose down off of corner number 2.
That's going to open up the door to the inside of the track. That's Jonathan Cadell in the 11. He took a look, but there was nothing doing there. Door was shut. He lost his momentum. You can see him going through the bumps there in 3 and 4. The 11 didn't get through the bumps too well. That's going to open the door for Fredericks in the 20. He got a pretty good run, but he'll check up and fall back in line.
That he will. He manages to hang on to that second place position. Colin Allman almost did it again that time by, manages to hang on to it, and he's going to end up losing sight of the leader here pretty soon.
Yeah, the gap is about 0.3 of a second, and I wouldn't be too concerned about that yet. Remember, I see sparks kicking up off corner number 4. I'm not sure which vehicle they came off of, but just looking at the telemetry, it looks like they came off your leader, because that 0.3 is all of a sudden, that's eliminated just over the course of the front straightaway.
Looking back, a little bit further back in the pack, Aaron Rodgers in that 51 machine maybe was looking for a pass down there up on the 13 machine. That's Kevin Hill in that 13, and looks like that's settled down now, but don't look now, that 18 machine, he drifts up the racetrack a little bit. Ricky Hart Jr. going to be right behind him. Yeah,
he tried a little bit higher of a line through 3 and 4, maybe seeing if there was any momentum he could carry on to the front straightaway, and there was a little bit, but not enough to make a move. He will fall in right behind him, but I'll tell you right up front, Brandon, that 67 of Colin Allman, he is looking to make a charge. He is there, just waiting for that opportunity to open up to make a pass on Benefiel.
Battle for the lead now. Right onto the back bumper of Benefiel is that number 67 machine, Colin Allman. Gonna look, see what he could do with that old Chevy SS body, new versus old regarding body-wise on these cars, but it's a heck of a battle up front right now.
Yes, it is, and just absolutely in the tire tracks of the 83. But here comes a 67. He's going to have a look down low, and Benefiel just said, "Go ahead and take it. I don't want to battle this hard this early." But almost a little bit of a crossover. The 67 didn't get through the center, but I think Benefiel just cut him some slack, let him go. Lead change on the speedway.
New leader across the line that time by Colin Allman in that 67 machine. Adam Benefiel going to fall back to that second position. Still running in that third position is John Cadell.
Yeah, Cadell is about 3/4 of a second or so behind these two leaders, and it doesn't look like, Brandon, that Benefiel is rolling over and playing dead as I originally thought. You could see him hooking that white line, ended up getting some time there through the center, had to back off just because he got so good of a run through the center that he had to stay off the bumper of Allman.
Yeah, absolutely. Close racing up towards the front of this thing so far, Corey, and one thing we got to remember, it's still quite fresh in this run. As these runs go on, Corey, it's going to be tough to drive these race cars around, and the rear end's not going to want to stay underneath these guys.
Yeah, they're only 9 laps into this tire stint right now, and well, I think the fuel load will take them about 55 to 60 laps, but tires, realistically, they're not going to really want to go more than about 30, so the question is going to be is if we do go green, do you want to pit for tires? Do you want to try to stretch the fuel load? It's the question we ask ourselves every broadcast as we watch these guys, and more often than not we guess wrong, so I don't see why today would be any different, but if it does go green, it'll be fun to see.
Corey, Colin caught Adam so quickly when he went to go for the pass. Do you think maybe that he did, maybe it put an effect on his tires and how fast he wore those things out, or maybe they just got really hot, but Adam Benefiel right back on his back bumper.
Well, there is, Brandon, and I don't like calling it an oddity, but
into the wall goes the 67.
Well, that's definitely going to make a repass a lot easier with that contact into the turn 2 barrier by Allman. Will go on board, and you can see that crinkled up right side, right on the 3 of the 3M. So I don't think that's going to take him out of contention, although it may take a couple miles an hour off his top end speed unless he can get it repaired.
Absolutely it will, and Man, oh man, that wasn't just a scrape up onto the wall either. That was some pretty good contact up there, so maybe something that he's going to have to keep an eye out for.
It's just something with these tracks, Brandon. As we go down the back straightaway, you don't have a safer barrier down the back straightaway. You have it all throughout the corners. You have it through the majority of the tri-oval section. But where the safer barrier blends in and out, if you're not careful, it will catch you by surprise. We'll go on board and I'll try to show you what I'm talking about. See right here, he blends out, safer barrier, no safer barrier. And if you hit that point right where it's transitioning off, I think that may have caused that impact.
Yeah, I'd have to agree 100% with you, Corey, and as we look a little bit further back, we could have a potential battle for the third position on our hands.
Cadell and Fredericks in the 20. Now, you can see Fredericks in the 20. He's going to follow the tire tracks, run a little bit lower if even then. Cadell through 1 and 2 rather. Pull right to the back bumper. Haven't quite seen the upper grooves move in yet. As this field is spreading out, I wonder if that will happen, but they're still ringing it around the bottom. And it does look like the 20 is faster, but not fast enough to be able to make a charge yet.
Yeah, not quite yet. He's trying to stay right in those tire tracks, but now they're coming up on the damaged machine of Allman in that 67. After he got into the wall, they're coming up on him pretty quick.
Yes, they are. Maybe that contact has had more negative consequences than we originally anticipated it would. It may not even have just been all aero. He may have hindered the suspension a little bit. That will obviously not be something that you can repair quickly. So if that's the case, his race may already be on the downfall spiral, if I could speak, as I said. But we do have that 3-car battle for the second position, and we go a little bit further back, Brandon. We have Nathan Gurgensen in the 31. He's leading a charge of about 5 guys. That's 5th to 10th right there.
Yeah, absolutely, and man, look at the freight train coming behind these guys right now, Corey. All running in each other's tire tracks now as we got a battle for that second position now. 67 machine not going to last very long. They're going to take them on the high side.
But this is where that high side might actually start to make some problems for the guys trying to pass to the inside. Is that 11? He's on the outside right now, and he may be able to make it stick. He may be able to hold the 67 off and pinch him down. And I think he's actually going to make the pass up there. You can see that momentum. He gets off of the exit. The 20 with the power move to the bottom. We've seen how that hasn't worked so far, but he managed to blend on safely.
Man, you saw how upset his car got coming back on to the transition, back onto the racetrack there. And man, look at how close that second group of cars is now, Corey.
Yeah, it is. That little move. Well, it was a big move rather, but this little bit of racing these guys are putting on just slows them up just a little bit. And look at that 67 just within inches of the back bumper of Cadell as they come and complete yet another lap. And you're wondering where Benefiel is. He's up by about 1 3/4 seconds right now.
Benefiel is gone. The battle right now for the second position, that 11 machine. He's under fire from that 67 machine once again, but don't look now. Here comes the pack.
Yes, they do. They're coming along in the battle essentially right now. We have we're about 2 seconds behind the leader for second, and then all the way back to 7th is only separated by a second. If you go back to about 10th spot, we're separated 10th. 2nd through 10th, essentially separated by a second and a half. But then we go back a ways to John Groh in the 11th spot. Him and Tim Marlowe, they're in relative close proximity. Then we have Jonathan Dickert. Remember, he was involved in that first caution. He had that car come right across his nose. Derek Conley and Scott Wise in the grass on the back straightaway. I'm not sure if it's going to throw out a yellow, but we'll take a look at this on the replay. He got turned by the number 28 of Conley, appears. But he's still in the grass as we speak. But I think we should stay green.
Yeah, green flag stays in the air right now, and Man, things are starting to get dicey back there, it looks like, Corey, or they were, as 51 and the 13 are going to be side by side, the 18 and the 9 right behind them.
Yeah, they are. To the outside of the track is the 18. 18 goes all the way to the third groove. That's Ricky Hart Jr. Tried to take a look to the outside of Aaron Rodgers. Not quite going to happen. But all this is sending that 13 of Kevin Hill, sending him in the wrong direction. Mason Stiver is going to try to go to the outside. It looks like that outside group, Brandon, starting to come into play, but the 9 almost into the back bumper. The 13 had to check up there off of 4.
Oh man, Corey, some really hard racing going on back here further back in the pack. This is for around the 10th position, and actually just inside of the top 10, and these guys going at it back here.
Yeah, this is where the battle is, and still the 27 rather. That's John Theodore. He's looking to the inside of Stiver in the 9. The 9th currently running 9th, at least for the time being. But it looks like that second groove will prevail with the momentum off of 4 as they complete lap number 33. And again, we haven't forgot about him. He's up front, Adam Benefiel. He is putting on a clinic right now. The lead is now about 2.5 seconds approximately as we are ticking this race off right now. And we're about 25 laps into this fuel run. And this is that point where the race kind of has that green flag flare, and these guys are going to have to start planning their long-term moves out in terms of pit strategy.
Yeah, Corey, tell us a little bit what it's like coming out of pit road here under the green flag conditions.
Well, it's similar to most mile-and-a-halves, but that doesn't necessarily make it easy at all. You're going to come on, we'll go on board actually with Cadell here in the 11. He's going down the back straightaway into 3 and 4. To see, he's going to want to run that low line, and right about here, center of the corner, you want to start backing down, cutting low, and Chicago especially has a really, really tight pit entry. It's a really hard left. You can see how much grass there is on the front straightaway, so that just shows how far into the racetrack the pit road is. So it really is a hard turn, and as you're trying to maximize speed on old tires, it's definitely something you got to be careful for.
Yeah, absolutely is, man, close racing still for that second position up here. John Cadell really trying to fight hard against this 11 machine up here.
Yeah, this battle is not going anywhere. Allman, even though he did hit the wall, and he has a huge wiggle there off of 2, that opens the door for the 20 of Fredericks to go to the inside, and that's just a matter of tire wear at this point. Well, I think the damage may have expedited the process a little bit, but you can just see that 67 is just sloshing all over the speedway, can't seem to get any sort of traction, brings him back to the 4th spot. And he's got to be careful because those guys behind him, Nathan Gurgensen and company, not too far back.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys still running. You know, I'm surprised. These guys still running really close to each other, Corey, and especially for this late in the run.
Yeah, we're going to pull up our lap tracker right now. I'll tell you the top 10 lap times, and that's not a glitch. Last time by, Benefiel 0.3 of a second faster than the field. 31.17. To looks like the best lap of the top 10, actually all the way back to John Theodore, 31.35. So 0.2 on the field, 0.3 over the leaders.
Absolutely, Benefiel just putting on a clinic against this field right now, and this field goes around the number 01 machine, who gets into the wall once again. That got a little bit sketchy there for a moment. Again, that 01 machine was involved in that first caution.
This is that point in the race, Brandon, as we talk about it all the time, where you start to get the vibe that, okay, we're all settled in at this point. We're going to start going green. The odds of there being a contact-based caution are starting to deteriorate. It's probably going to be a self-spin or something along those lines. So you're really just getting into a groove, figuring out who you're running around, starting to plan out your pit strategy. Because at this point, if your name's not Adam Benefiel, you're probably not going to win this race, barring some extreme circumstances. So these guys in the top 5, they all have pretty good pace, and I think one to watch right now is Nathan Jurgensen in the number 31. He was a little bit further back, but he has begun to close in on Allman. You can see he's not too far off second place as we look a little bit further ahead.
Yeah, Corey, but one thing I'd keep in the back of my head, these guys are all getting in the groove, but you know, these guys are also still running close enough to where we could have, you know, maybe a little bit of a slip up by one driver or another.
Yeah, by all means, you race side by side. It all depends how much room you give. If you go to the bottom of the track, you might not have the grip. You might slide up a little bit. Maybe the guy up top thinks that he gave you enough space when it really isn't. It pinches you down, and of course that could be something that happens, or you have different braking points on entry, because we are using the brakes here. At least I'd have to imagine we are. I was using it in the Xfinity car here. So some drivers just have different approaches to the turn. Some drivers, you might think he's going high, he's going low. So by all means, there are ways for them to wreck. But when the runs progress, the field spreads out, the odds of it happening do go down. So we are on lap number 43. If there is another caution, sometimes we do go to commercial break, but I do actually have it queued up where we can check up in our race that is going on with our partners at GSRC on the esports network. I can check up with them on a side-by-side if we have that opportunity right now. They are on, I believe, lap number, I think we are a little bit ahead of them. Don't have it exact, but yeah, if we do have the chance, we will check up on them later in the coverage. But I'm not sure if we're going to get another caution anytime soon, Brandon. It looks like even these battles are starting to spread out right now. We do have the 20 and the 67, rather. They are duking it out, Cadell and Frederick still. Cadell is starting to fall back, and looks like that 67 may not be totally done after all.
Yeah, absolutely. The 67 machine, Cadell still, or rather the 67 machine of Allman still showing some speed in that race car, even with the damage that he has, Corey, as he gets a little bit of loose down off of corner number 2 that last time by, but even with that little bit of damage that he has, he's still hanging in there pretty good.
Yeah, he is, and I'm getting a little, I'm kind of confusing myself a little bit on my scoring right now. Because these guys are so close together. I keep forgetting that Benefiel is on the track right now. He's so far ahead. He's almost 5.5 seconds up right now. He is the leader. So what we are watching, this is not the lead. This is second on back. We have to remember that fact. But Cadell's starting to pull away yet again. Fredericks has gotten by Allman, and now, as I mentioned, Jurgensen starting to close in, and he is a fast car right now, so I think he can get up there, maybe get second if he gets enough, if he makes the right move.
Allman looking down low now. The 20 machine gets into the wall just a little bit now. Now he's under pressure from that 31 machine. Jurgensen manages to take that position away from the 20 of Fredericks. That was for the 4th position right there. Fredericks got into the outside wall, but now they're going to be side by side for the position once again, going down into corner number 3. And almost drifting up the racetrack a little bit was that 20 machine. Almost got a little bit loose there down on exit. He manages to catch his race car. They're going to still battle for this position. Give it to the 31 machine that time by.
Yeah, it is. Jurgensen's going to have it for the moment, but he's not going to be able to hold on to it. The 20 is going to have it. Look at the 20 hold up through the center. 31's going to use that outside groove yet again. 20 has to give him the lane. So he's going to have that look to the outside as we enter 3 and 4, but the 20's going to send it on in there. That might not work. I think he's going to lose his momentum, but he's going to lose his momentum in a way that is beneficial to himself, because he had to check up the 31. But then that wiggle opens the door yet again, and watch out, we might have a 3 wide. Here comes Ricky Hart to come play.
Hart now looking up on the high side. He's going to be running the 3rd groove up there. Maybe looking to go 3 wide. Thought better of it. And these guys going to go back to 2x2 racing, heading down into corner number 3. The 31 on the bottom. The 20 machine up high. He's going to slip up now. The momentum coming from that 18 machine from behind now.
And to remember, guys, this is all on 40-lap old tires. These guys don't have grip to be doing this, so these cars are sliding all around. They are struggling for grip, struggling to hang on to these things as they race 2-3 wide like this, all for second on back. And that 31, he's going to take a hard look to the inside of the track, perhaps to get out of the way, or maybe he got loose, one of the two. So he's going to fall back to 6th. Ricky Hart Jr. is in 5th now. Fredericks in 4th, and now Allman and Cadell have pulled away from this gaggle.
Yeah, these guys, look at that 18 machine now. He's going to look underneath hard. That's Jurgensen looking down low. They're going to be side by side once again. This is for P5.
Yeah, these guys are putting on a show for this position right now, and Fredericks is in the 4th position right now. Hart is in 5th. He looks to the inside of the track, but I think that outside starting to come in. You can see the inside. The Hart in the 18 got a little bit loose through the bumps there, but he was able to hold his momentum. And he will hold to the inside, have that quarter panel entering 1, takes it to the inside. But if I'm anybody, I want to be that 20 now. I think that outside's where you want to be. He's going to get that momentum off the top and to carry that momentum down the straightaway, wiggle down the breadth stretch. And he's not going to be able to clear, but here comes the 31 of Jurgensen back.
Jurgensen still looking down low. That's one machine. Jurgensen down low. The 20 machine of Fredericks up high. I got myself confused there for just a moment. These guys, 2x2, contact on the front straightaway. One car going around.
Who is that? That is Aaron Rodgers.
It's the 51 machine. What a save from Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, it wasn't a good pass, but it wasn't quite a pick. He was able to save it. I'm sorry, bad pun, I had to. But let's see what happened. It looks like he got doored there to the inside of the track. The 13 went for the sack there, but wasn't quite able to take him down. He will keep going on 3rd and long, but he's going to be back 11th. I didn't plan any of those football puns. That's why they were all horrible, but I had to try.
Yeah, you tried. You tried so hard.
It didn't really matter, though. So, it's not quite a mid-race recap, but we're getting pretty close to it. It's 46 laps into the stint right now since these guys have been on pit road. We're 55 laps into a 134-lap race. So at this point, Brandon, they can't do this on one more stop. It's gonna be 2 more stops to end this race out mathematically. We still have the better part of, well, 79, 78 laps left to go. They're gonna need to be on pit road within 10 to 15 laps maximum. So I think if a couple of these guys, they should probably contemplate short pitting here, I would say. And
yeah,
the 20 of Fredericks loses it on the entry to pit road into the inside fence.
I don't see too much damage, but man, that's gonna really hurt him. Fredericks goes around trying to enter pit road. He'll spin down to pit road, now rolling slowly at pace or pit road speed, trying to find his pit stall. But man, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, we're on replay right now, and it looks like he did everything right, but they did it just a tiny bit too quickly. And yeah, as you said, not significant damage, but it's going to be some damage, and it's going to be a lot of time loss. And remember, he was up there in 5th, 6th, 7th position battling with these guys, so definitely going to be a hindrance to his race, and he's going to need the help of a caution or 2 to get him back into the mix. But here's our leader, Adam Benefiel, lap 57, the 83. I think he saw what happened in his mirror, maybe. A very slow and methodical entry, but when you have that big of a lead, you can get away with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well over a 5-second lead coming out of pit road is Adam Benefiel, and he has that little room to play, Corey, and still going to have to nail this pit stop, though.
Yeah, as long as, I mean, there was a little bit of a glitch on the iRacing service where the pit sign wasn't going down, but as far as I heard, it is fixed, so he should have no problem. You can see the jack going up there on the right side, and he has that #1 pit stall, so he won't have too long to exit. And watch out, the 67 of Albin, Tokyo drift on entry, but he saved it.
Man, oh man, Everybody trying that Tokyo drift on a pit road right now.
He saved it. Did he slow it down? That's a separate debate. I don't have the verdict on that. We'll have to, either Brandon will have to check it out for us, or we're going to have to wait and see if there's a delay on that car leaving after the jack drops. The number 9 of Mason Stiver missed his pit box by a mile. You can see he's still trying to get in his pit box, so that's going to be at least 7-8 seconds added to his stop. And we'll see if that 67 drops. He doesn't. Speeding penalty. Speeding police on the 67.
Colin Allman, tough break for him. Speeding penalty here in this portion of the race. That's going to hurt him also. A lot of your front runners having issues here on these pit stops.
Yes, they are, and Ricky Hart Jr. is currently the leader, as it does look like there may have been some slight cloud cover here at Chicago, at least for the moment. The front straightaway has darkened up, so this is a part of the new dynamic sky model. The clouds come over the clouds naturally cover the sun, darken the track. That will add some grip while that track is shaded, so that definitely does throw you off a little bit, Brandon. You get used to running at a certain grip level, but that track goes down 5, 6, 7 degrees. Well, you're gonna be able to drive it in a little bit harder than you had been used to prior.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. And well, these guys all adjusting together here with this new thing, and the guys on fresh tires, Corey, bet you they're feeling pretty good right now.
Yes, they are, and those drivers, well, the highest running of those drivers is, well, Benefiel, the 7th position, so we still have Ricky Hart, Nathan Jurgensen, Jonathan Dickert, Derek Conley, and Brian Zimmerman on the track in the 18. Well,
oh, that's going to be a big penalty for him.
Yeah, he did not make that at all go from the blimp cam on replay. He gave it the old college try. He sent it at full speed, missed the commitment cone, so that's going to be a penalty for the 18. And again, these drivers who are running in the top 5 having these issues, and it's going to shake up the running order when this starts, when this resets. Caution on the speedway.
Wow. Caution flag will fly on the speedway.
I don't know if you have any leads, Brandon, because I don't have one off my telemetry.
Good question.
I mean, we could just call it debris, but
yeah, I mean, that's what we may have to do here. I'm not seeing anything from my point of view, so.
All right, so debris caution brings out the, well, let's bring up the graphic. This is the 3rd actual caution, the 3rd official caution in the race. I think it's the 2nd real caution. The first one was triggered by the tribute we had to start the race, and well, the pits are open, and Jurgensen will enter the pits with a humongous lead, just given to him by circumstance. And that's not for him. This isn't just a gimme, Brandon. He has a fast car. I don't know if he's on pace with that number 83. I don't think anybody is. But this isn't a gimme. This is definitely going to help him out.
Yeah, absolutely it will. And I think you were talking earlier, Corey, about the speed that 31 machine can carry.
Yeah, he was getting himself through the pack, just struggled, but now he's going to have the lead, I presume, and Jonathan Cadell is going to, actually, he's being scored in 2nd. Not sure if he's going to sit there, but we're going to let this caution play out, and while we go to a side-by-side, you're going to get to tune in and hear what's going on our GSRC split of this race, so we'll be right back with you. Enjoy the coverage of the other event.
Herzog to feel out that high line, see what he can do with it, if he's able to hold him off here at all. But so far, I don't think the momentum is winning out over trying to carry that low line. Unless he starts to push up, and then James Heater had to get out of the gas to avoid running up into Herzog there. Car in the infield, trying to see who that is. That is Ian White. Ian White going through a trip through the infield, Joe.
Ooh, yeah, not sure how he managed to get there. Oh, and he got loose off of 4. This is the first time we've seen a car get loose instead of understeer.
Yeah, it was almost like he got off the gas to save the car, and as soon as it did, it shot dead straight right into the wall. We got here at the GSRC replay, you'll see it. The car gets loose, backs out of the gas, and then as soon as it does, boom, right in the wall and hard contact.
Very hard contact. Now he's still going, but he is limping that car on the apron, trying to get to the pits. Because there was nobody around him and he didn't stop on the racing line, there was no caution thrown by the virtual stewards. Up in 7th place as we look at the battle between Omit and I believe this is Amshoff. Excuse me, Hartz. Hartz once again proving himself to be on quite a charge.
And apologize, some slight technical issues as I try getting that working. I've never done that before, so learning how to do it, but we got it working at the end. That was pretty cool, but we're getting ready for the restart here. The running order, it has been shaken up. We have the 31 of Jurgensen leading the race. Derek Conley the outside. Brian Zimmerman is going to be outside of row 2, and I believe Adam Benefiel will be in the 3rd spot. He's been the dominator of this race, and well, he's going to have a couple cars to pass to get that position back. The pace car is going to dive into the pit lane, and we will wait for the 31 to get into the restart zone, and there it is, green flag back in the air today.
Oh boy, I see some pretty good wheel spin back there from a few of these guys, and got a little bit sketchy on the restart. They're going to be 3 wide going down into corner number 1.
The 92 machine of Dickert made a hard cut there in the middle of the corner, was able to clear, but it was pretty aggressive at the moment. But we already have a battle for the lead. You can see how much time Benefiel wasted. Well, absolutely none was the answer. He's already back to P1, and just in the time he made that pass, he's already pulled up by a half second.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. And man, oh man, Adam Benefiel sitting on a rocket ship tonight and already pulling away for the rest of the field here as these guys are all bunched together back here for the back-to-back.
Yeah, the battle is still going on at the end of the field. And, well, these guys, remember how many problems we saw on pit road with these drivers? So those guys got the blessing of a caution to get back caught up, and they're going to be able to hopefully get back to where they were running prior. Remember, Allman had that huge slide in that pit road penalty. Mason Stiver missed his box and lost a whole bunch of time. These guys, they're back on the lead lap. They're back in contention, but they're going to have to drive themselves back through the field.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys trying to get themselves back to where they were before, and they may have a little bit of a tough time doing it, scoring, because they've got a lot of traffic to get through.
Yes, they do. And while there is multiple areas on this track to make passes, it does not mean that it is an easy endeavor. You're still going to have to really dig around and try to get these runs. You can see the Larson line in effect. The 51 didn't make it work, but the 28 did. We haven't talked about Derek Conley too much recently anyways, but he's still running in the 4th position. But here comes Colin Allman to try to change that. He's been in the top 5 all day trying to get these positions back to get me door-to-door off of 4.
Side by side down the front straightaway now. Going to be heading down into corner number 1 now. And give that position to that 67 machine of Allman down there. But the 28 machine going to be fighting up high. Maybe a little bit too high. Almost contact with that outside wall.
Yeah, he almost got into it, but was able to stay out of it. You can see he's going for that Larson line yet again, all the way up to the wall. I'm not sure that's where he wants to run yet in terms of speed, but he's going to try to make it work. Didn't get the momentum up there. It's going to open the door for Stiver and the 9 to the inside. You can see the 92 of Dickert looking to the outside of Allman. in the on the front straightaway, not happening. But again, look at that 28, dedicated to run at the top of the racetrack.
Those guys are going to be side by side now. Dickert going to be looking to the inside now for that position. Going to maybe take it away with ease. The outside line not going to be favorable for that 67 machine right now.
Yeah, remember he has a little bit of damage as that 67, and he's not done yet. He's looking to the inside. He had a peak, but it's not going to be of any merit, so he'll have to fall back in line. Dickert will take that 4th spot, highest we've seen that number 92 machine all night, so let's see what he's able to do. He has 1 1/4 seconds to get back to the number 31 of Nathan Jurgensen, who's lost the 2nd spot to Jonathan Cadell in the 11. And again, where is your leader of Adam Benefiel? He's trying to get that lead back he had prior. He's up by 2 seconds, and again, we've only been under green for about 8 laps.
The field up towards the front, fairly spread out now. Obviously, Benefiel up by just over 2 seconds to Jonathan Cadell, and right behind Cadell is going to be that number 18 machine of Ricky Hart Jr.
Yeah, Ricky Hart Jr., he's all the way back in the 13th spot, 1 lap down, Brandon.
Yeah, you're right. 1 lap down is that 18 machine. Still carrying the speed, though. Threw me off just a little bit. Ricky Hart Jr., 13th, 1 lap down on that 18 machine. 3rd place is actually Nathan Jurgensen back there in that 31.
Yeah, Hart was having a pretty good run. I think that he was also someone that had a pit road incident. Remember, I think he drove straight through and did not make the commitment cone, had to serve a penalty of sorts. So I think that's why he is off the lead lap. But he is in the free pass position if we are lucky enough to get another yellow, or at least in his sake, lucky enough to get another yellow. But right now, Benefiel again, he's just in his own zip code, driving into tomorrow, or so his goal is at the moment. But Cadell 2.5 seconds back, 1.5 seconds back to Jurgensen, 2.5 back to Dickert, and then still Allman trying to close in if he can. We'll pull up the lap tracker again and see who's running what in the top 10, and just amazing how Benefiel is just able to be 0.2 faster than the field. It's not something we see. This is a fixed setup race, so I've been told. I'm certain it is, actually. So to run 0.2 faster, Brandon, in a fixed setup race, that is something to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'd say so. Just a little bit, you know. Nothing to brag about or anything.
I mean, 0.2 on a road course, I mean, okay, fair enough. 0.2 on a super speedway, you're probably cheating. I mean, I'm joking. There's a lot of anti-cheat stuff on there, but 0.2 here, I mean, you definitely got something figured out. Last time by he was only 1/10 faster, but of the top 10, it looks like the fastest other driver besides Benefiel was the 7 machine of John Groh. We'll watch it as it updates yet again. Looks like it'll go back to 31. Nope, the 27 of John Theodore. So there are fast times all throughout the field, Brandon. It's just track position, and it's easy to run the fast laps, but it's hard to make the passes.
Yeah, it really is. You know, multiple grooves going on here. You can run side by side, but it's really hard for that one person to get the edge on the other.
Sometimes, I mean, this is going to sound opposite of what we usually know of. Yes, there was a side-by-side battle, and oh, there it is. It is the number 27 of Theodore passing Mason Stiver. But sometimes it actually is easier to pass on a one-groove track, as John Groh will go to the inside of Dickert, and this will be a side-by-side battle through 3 and 4, and side-by-side no more as the 7 clears for that spot. But Brandon, hear me out here. On a one-groove track, guy goes out, he goes wide. Let's say actually I'm trying to think of a one-groove track, like a Pocono, for example. A guy goes wide, that outside groove just doesn't work there, so you're going to clear him, and you're going to go. You give him the bump and run, he gets out of the way, he's gone. At Chicago, multi-groove track, you go to the inside, he goes to the outside. You don't have enough of an advantage to clear. You're going to be side by side until you get a mega run, until you make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely, Corey, and well, that's how things go. And as we've seen before, some mistakes bigger than others, and that's how it all goes down here.
Or, I mean, it all goes up depending where you want to run the track. Battle yet again, still the 27 of Theodore to the inside of Dickert. Dickert, he got up to the top 4, but that was very quickly lasted because he's already going to be back to the 8th position. Just got passed by Theodore and Stiver. So battle's on track. Well, still not for the lead. The gap is 3 1/3 seconds, and yeah, we don't. A lot of times when the leader has this big of a lead, we don't focus enough on what the leader is doing in the race he has had. Although I don't have a paint scheme for him, maybe some kind of a issue with Trade Paints or some kind of local issue with the paint scheme. But the Black Bandit, as I like to call him when it's a situation, he's been up front for 69 laps. The only laps he hasn't really led were during that green flag cycle where he was waiting for everyone else to stop. But you know, we talked about how much faster he is than everybody else on this fixed setup track at Chicago. But it's just, this is just really something to remember. And if something does happen to take this win away from Benefiel, it's going to be a heartbreaker, because when you have this kind of run, you need to seal the deal and take it home.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Benefiel's confidence is sky high right now to get this win into the books, Corey. And if anything were to happen to take that away from him, I'm sure he'd be devastated right now.
At this point, I mean, we still have one more pit stop. We have to reiterate that. We're closing in. Actually, we are within 50 laps to go at this point in the race. 47, if my math is proper, which it might not be, but I'm pretty sure it is. So these guys have been on the track for, well, let's just cue the graphic and we'll let you know exactly. These guys have been on the track on this fuel tire run for, looks like 25 to 22 to 30 laps, depending on the driver. So they're going to be in the pits within about 20 to 30 laps. So at this point, Brandon, it's really your call on, do you want to pit early? Do you want to pit late? You're going to have to pit at some point, which is going to be more beneficial for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, the early pit stops, Corey, you know, it seems like everybody's kind of still on the same strategy right now. And of course, the caution in the middle of those green flag pit stops kind of helped to that situation, but everybody kind of pitted around the same time, and it seemed like it was, you know, a little bit earlier than we had anticipated originally.
Yeah, I thought they were going to, at that point, you run a certain amount of laps, you almost set yourself up just to run the fuel load. If you're going to do a short stop for tires, usually you're going to make that call pretty early. That way you have enough time to utilize that fresh rubber. And if that's the case, as the laps tick off, we're at 44 to go. If you're going to want to pit early and utilize those tires, you're going to probably want to do it within the next 5 or so laps. I do think most drivers will probably pit right around 30 to go, but of course, the fallback of taking fresh tires early is that while you're going to be Superman for these first couple laps, those guys are going to pit, and then they're going to be Superman, and then, well, it's just going to be, do you have enough to hang on to the guys that pitted later? That's what usually happens in these affairs, and I'm pretty confident that's going to be what we're going to be dealing with today. I don't think any of them is going to... I don't think any strategy is going to take the win away from the 83. I think the only way the 83 is going to lose this race is on a caution, or if he screws up his pit stall in any regard. But actually, last time by, Cadell was a half second faster than Benefiel. I don't know what happened there.
I don't know, Corrine. See what it is this time by, maybe.
See, a 31.6 to a 31.1. We'll see what it is this time by on the battle tracker. A 31.31 to a 31.32. So looks like the laps are about equal, but I mean, I don't know if the 83 hit the wall or something, but that was a huge discrepancy in lap time to lose a half second. But he still does have about a 2 3/4 second lead. So again, those who may have tuned in late, you are watching David Cater's final drive. David Cater, an asset in the iRacing community for the entire duration of the service, essentially. A good man who would help anybody in the drop of a heartbeat. He would do absolutely anything. He was a wizard in the setup game, and he would do whatever he needed to make a setup and to teach people how to make their own setups, not just giving you a setup to allow you just to go out there and run with the top guys, but he wanted you to learn what you needed to do to become better at yourself as a driver, as a setup builder. And he was also just a good guy and as a person, just a good person to have in your life. And we lost him last week tragically, and David Morin of Lowline Racing, a teammate of him, put on an event, and here we are putting on this event, and GSRC, our partners broadcasting on the Esports Network, putting on a duplicate event there. And all of these drivers paid an entry fee, and the majority of that fee going to the family of David Cater in this unfortunate time where they could use all the help they can get, as obviously this was a unexpected circumstance. So anybody who is able to donate and would like to, you can look in the description for that opportunity. But that is what is on offer right now here on PTR TV and iRacing Live. We're about 3/4 of the way through this race. Adam Benefiel is just, he's had the NOS on that machine all day, and he's had it fully engaged. He's out by 3 seconds, and nobody has had anything for him, and we are waiting for pit stops anytime as this race starts to wind down.
Yep, pit stops coming up very shortly, I'd say, Corey. And Adam Benefiel, man, look at the lead that he's got in this short period of time. I'd expect to see him one of the first ones down pit road, just as last time.
I mean, he crosses the stripe now, and you can see second place of Jonathan Cadell. It's just a little white dot in the back. You can see 2 cars. You can see, I believe it to be Jurgensen and Allman. And that's about as far back as he can see in his mirror. And that might not even be those cars, I'm not quite sure. So he's essentially the entire back straightaway ahead of second place. So, I mean, he can't do anything wrong at this point. He's running the perfect race, and again, this isn't an official race. This isn't anything that's going to account for points or anything on those lines. This is purely a tribute event, and I mean, obviously the circumstances of what goes behind this event is nothing that anyone wants to have, but I'm not sure if there was any interaction between Cater and Benefiel in his tenure on iRacing. Well, if there is an interview, we'll obviously ask those questions, but again, it's an event that, to say that you won a big event in the community, that's going to be something that he'll hold dear to his heart in his sim racing career.
Absolutely, he will. And now we'll be coming up on lap 100 this time around. It'll be 35 to go when he crosses the line. And Benefiel with an impressive lead still, but again, expecting green flag pit stops very shortly.
Yeah, these guys are 35 laps into the run, and again, we need to pit. We're not going to make a 70-lap run to take it all the way to the end, so it's just going to be a matter of who's going to do what. You got to get on pit road one more time and make the most of it, no mistakes, especially if you're the 83. You can baby it. You can take it. If the pit road speed is 45, take it in at 25. Don't take any chances. You're still going to have the lead. Just got to get it right and get in your pit stall nice and smooth. And, well, here he comes. This is the opportunity for the 83. He's going to lock him down. He's going to take it. Actually, he's not going to lock it down. He got it nice and smooth. Not taking any chances. I think he must have been listening to me. So let's see when this brings anybody else to pit road.
Yep. Everybody's spotter is telling them the leader is on pit road, and looking to see who else is going to come down. Nathan Jurgensen stays out that last time.
But Jonathan Cadell is actually the leader. But remember,
also now coming in this time.
But remember what happened as Cadell takes it to pit road and he gets it down safely. Remember what happened last time? We had people stay out on the track. Caution came out during the cycle, and it did shake up the running order, put Benefiel a little bit further back in the lineup, and We saw how much that hindered him. It took him an entire 3/4 of a lap to go from 4th to 1st, so it's going to take a serious event to take that 83 out of contention, and he's already back up to speed, back on the track. He's in 12th. He's a second car off the lead lap, but he's going to get that back very shortly, I'm sure. And who else do we have on pit road? We have the 20 of Anthony Fredericks on pit road. He's been a top 5 car. Colin Allman exits the pits. He's been in and out of the top 5 for the majority of the day. But Nathan Jurgensen in the 31 for the time being is your leader as we close in on 30 laps to go. And he probably has 25 laps in the fuel cell, but I don't think he's going to push it, but we'll see what he does.
And his tires have got to be already screaming at him, Corey. I mean, you know, going that long on a set of tires at a track like Chicagoland, that's going to be tough. I don't expect him to push it. Maybe he's just waiting for a caution.
I mean, you can hope, but I mean, you could see how spread out this field is, and this is Benefiel right now. He's the car directly in the rear view of Jurgensen, so this is going to get Benefiel on the lead lap when he does pass. And ultimately, it's just going to be a battle of how long would it be. And just look at that closing rate off of 2. It's just going to be a matter of what's the closing rate going to be. Can the 83 go around the entire track, catch the 31 before the race would be over? But again, the 31, from everything that we know, and I've been on iRacing since about day 1 myself, no way in heck you're running 70 laps on fuel at Chicago. So I think he's just praying for a caution that most likely isn't going to come out. But again, this is a race purely for the sake of having a good run and winning, so may as well throw for the fences and go for that yellow.
Absolutely is getting passed by the cars out of fresher tires. And Corey, you know, when you're staying out like this and you're still trying to drive at your own pace, how hard is it to keep at your own pace when you got all these guys on fresh tires blowing past you?
It's the hardest thing, because if you know you're on a certain strategy and you know it's not the fastest strategy, but it has its own way to play out, it's really hard not to get sucked into everybody else's moves and to run harder or pit earlier than you want to. You have to just focus in, laser focus in on what you're doing and run that out. Don't focus on the other cars, but it's very easy to get distracted by that.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And all these guys just running past that 31 machine of Jurgensen right now. I don't expect him to try to push until the end here, Corey, but at this point, it looks like he might be trying to go for something here.
Yeah, I mean, he's been out there for 43. It'll be 44 laps right now, and the 9 right behind him, Mason Stiver, he's been out for even longer, pushing 50 laps. And as a reference, Benefiel 24 seconds off. He also ran 1.7 seconds faster, so I'm not even going to try to do that math in my head. But the math in my head already says that the 31 has to go 70 laps, and I know he can't do that, so he's playing that caution card, and not sure if he's going to get it. But one thing that we can bring up, Brandon, is obviously we talked earlier in the race about the day-night transitions. Obviously we're not going into the nighttime, but the sun is starting to go down slightly as the afternoon progresses, and the weather now, this track temp has gone down, if my memory serves even close to proper. I think this track temp has already gone down about 4 to 5 degrees since this race started.
Yes, it has, Corey. So right now, these guys are starting to be able to, at least on the fresh tires, starting to be able to drive it a little bit harder through the corners than they were at the beginning of this race. The track is starting to cool down just a little bit as we got one through the grass on the backstretch. Saw him getting some pretty good air back there, going for quite the ride. The 12 machine He's going to keep it down low.
Go on
Scott
replay.
Wise taking a wild ride there.
I'm pretty sure it's the second time he's had an occurrence of that nature here today. We're on replay right now, and he's just by himself. You get to see it. Left-hand hook. And he's just... that little access road there, it threw him airborne for a second, and then he's just... Well, he's going to go for round 2. And he just slides up. Luckily, there was nobody on that part of the track, but he was able to go for the off-road excursion, get it into the pits, and he will be able to continue with service. But closing in on 20 laps to go, and Nathan Jurgensen still is your leader. Mason Stiver is in second. Aaron Rodgers, he's in the pit road at the moment, running in third. Benefiel will pass him and get into the third spot. So that'll move Brian Zimmerman into fourth. Rodgers fifth for the moment. Actually, it'll update now. Cadell to fifth, Conley to sixth, Aaron Rodgers in seventh, Colin Allman in eighth. We have John Theodore in ninth, and rounding at your top 10, Ricky Hart Jr. As there are 20 laps to go in the race, we still have about approximately 15 cars still on track of the 18 that took the grid today for Cater's final drive here at Chicago. And well, the one thing that we are waiting for, we're waiting to see that 31 peel to pit road, give the lead back to Adam Benefiel. Still waiting on Mason Stiver as well. Benefiel in third, 17 seconds behind, but he's all set to go to the end. The top 2, well, not so much.
Yep, absolutely. So Benefiel just kind of sitting back there playing the waiting game right now. Mason Stiver in that number 9 machine still out, and of course your leader in that 31 machine, Nathan Jurgensen, out on those old tires as well. These guys either waiting on a caution or waiting to see if they can save and make it to the end, but I don't think they'll be able to.
There was one time, and I'm going to go all the way back to 2009, maybe 2010. I ran 71 laps at Las Vegas in the Cup car, but that required turning the car off every single lap, about twice a lap, clutching it twice a lap, dropping my pace off by a 10th, and I ended up losing the lead on the last lap in doing so.
And of course, that even still was not the same vehicle.
Yeah, that was
the car tomorrow.
That was, well, the car yesterday.
Now it's the car of yesterday.
That was the car of yesterday. That was the car of Pat, like two lives ago.
2 yesterdays ago.
A lot of yesterdays, but yeah, the same tactics would apply, and well, if he's going to hypermile it to that degree, he'd have to be doing similar activities. And well, we can just hear it as we're watching the car go by on camera. I don't hear the engine shutting off at all, which would imply that that's where you're saving the most gas, is on the clutch when those RPMs are down at their minimum. That's where you're saving the most fuel, and the rest of it's being saved by letting off early, getting on late, not using full power. There's a bunch of ways you can save small amounts of fuel, but again, if he was going to be doing a 70-lap run, he would have had to start that a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely, he would have, Corey.
You can't decide that you're going to fuel save halfway through a run. That has to start at the beginning. But again, I mean, we're just looking on track. Where could there be a caution right now? There's closest on-track battle for position is Allman and Zimmerman. And, well, Zimmerman, he's still due to pit. He's been out there 54 laps, so it's not really a battle for position. And John Theodore is about to pass him, so there really isn't an active battle on the track that would instigate a caution. I mean, it's going to take a self-spin that is near another passing car. That'll cue a caution, but Benefiel has gotten to within 13 seconds. He's running about 7/10 of a lap faster, which at that rate, he's not going to get there. But again, we're just talking about fuel, and I've said the 31 doesn't have enough, and I stand by that, but I would love to be wrong. That would be interesting.
Yeah, so a handful of laps to go here, and 31 machine still out on the racetrack. I'd be speechless if he was able to walk away with this thing like this.
He does not have enough fuel. He doesn't. We're on board with him. All right, he's down 7,000 RPMs. He's getting back on the gas. He's full throttle. He's letting off at a conservative point, but that just might be a tire wear. Oh, here he goes.
Into pit road goes that 31
I told you he didn't have
machine.
enough. I didn't want to get excited for a fuel mileage strategy because I knew he didn't have enough fuel and ripped the cone right there.
Oh boy, Corey, you act like you know what you're talking about here.
Hey, this is my cup of tea, Brandon. I know how to NASCAR.
Do you know how to talk?
Not when I'm sick, but I know how to NASCAR. You know how to dirt. So that's going to hand the lead as predicted back to Adam Benefiel, and that lead that he has inherited is now 1 of 8 seconds over Jonathan Cadell. And then we'll go to third, and Colin Allman is running 3 seconds further behind Cadell. John Theodore 2 seconds behind Allman, and then I'm waiting for the scoring to update on Dickert, who's being scored in 5th. He is running... Oh, that's actually correct. He is running 16 seconds behind Theodore. So we currently have 5 drivers on the lead lap right now.
5 drivers on the lead lap, and Adam Benefiel taking 10 laps to go.
Watch out for this 3
by.
wide as Jurgensen has the momentum on those fresh tires, and he's splitting the gap here, trying to siphon his way through these guys on old tires.
Oh boy, 3 wide behind him.
Maybe he's
I cannot believe they made that work on exit.
I didn't know if he was trying to make his own caution there, because it's not so much that 3 wide doesn't work, but 3 wide on old tires that the other guys have, that's what made it dangerous. But
that was a little bit sketchy, I'd say.
So he's trying to get himself back into the top 5, and well, he's going to have 15 seconds of time to gain in the better part of about 8.5 laps, and I don't know if even on those fresh tires that he's going to be able to do that. Dickert is the guy that is going to be next on his chopping block, but so it's just going to shake back to that number 83, who has been up front for 87, and if he leads them all, it'll be down to 96 laps led here tonight that the 83 will have taken home. And I mean, Britt, I think very early on in the race, hard in the fence, that's going to bring out a caution. Aaron Rodgers. Oh, it didn't bring out a caution.
No caution. Aaron Rodgers hard into that wall, but no caution.
I don't know how that didn't throw a caution. That was a hard impact on instant replay here.
Man, oh man,
he's to the
what
inside.
a hit.
He's running to the inside of Scott Wise. They make contact entering 1, and that was that was just a hard impact. He went to the left and hard hook to the right into the fence, and he is deciding to go into lawnmower mode as he just cruises to the inside of 3 and 4 to get back to the pits. I think he's just trying to not throw out a caution at this point, so he stayed well off the track.
Adam Benefiel still holding a solid lead right now.
Not a liquid lead?
No, not a liquid lead. He's holding a solid lead out in front of the field right now.
Yeah, that lead is 1 of 7.5 seconds. And, well, I can say on the stopwatch, Cadell was actually faster by a 10th last lap, and I don't think that really means, obviously it doesn't mean that much at this point, but it does show that that 11 does have speed, but the 83 is just consistent. He can do it every single time, and just as well, just as we say that, Benefiel beat him by 0.2 of a second. So we are within what we call on PTR TV the iRacing cutoff lap, where if a caution was to come out from this point in the race on that the race would not be able to be restarted, as we don't have green-white checker rules in play. So the race will be over at the next flag, whether it be the white or whether it be the caution flag, as we do have 4 laps to go here at Chicago.
4 laps to go. Adam Benefiel has been dominating, pure domination from that 83 team today here at Chicagoland. Adam Benefiel still hanging out front of this thing right now.
Yeah, Benefiel, he's just been the class of the field, and that's just a major understatement. I mean, not many times do you see a guy just absolutely stink up the show, and we saw a little bit of competition earlier. I think it was with Allman, if I remember properly, but Allman got into the fence and he was just never the same afterwards, and after that it was just all in the 83's direction. He just hasn't really gotten offline once, hasn't messed up a pit stop. Just, this is the kind of race every driver dreams of, where everything just fires in every cylinder.
Absolutely. Adam Benefiel came in here. He had the pole coming in to start this race, and man, he pulled away right off the get-go here, and now, again, pure domination. He has a solid lead over the field. Not a liquid, a solid.
Not a gas either.
No, not a gas either.
So off of corner number 2, it is for the penultimate time. Right behind him is Derek Conley in the 28. He's 2 laps down, so I think Conley will just stay right in place there. Has nothing really to battle for at this moment in the race, as we do come off corner number 4 and we take the white flag lap here at Chicago.
White flag lap indeed. Adam Benefiel coming down through turns 1 and 2, and Adam Benefiel, one of those drivers, obviously we've learned today, that can keep everything consistent throughout the day. Throughout this race, he's kept the same, type of feel on his race car. He's been clean on and off pit road under these green flag stops, and now been able to pull away for the rest of the field. Down off of turn number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner at Chicagoland tonight, Adam Benefiel.
Absolute dominating performance by the 83, and we offer our congratulations. We wait for second place to cross the line. There is second of Jonathan Cadell, and there is the 67 of Colin Allman. Those will be your top 3 finishers here at Chicago. And again, we want to offer congratulations. David Cater's final ride, the victor of the event, will be Adam Benefiel, but we do want to get into the post-race show and talk to these guys, see how they feel after that race here at Chicago. But before we do that, we want to give you the final rundown of results here tonight. As we just mentioned, with the victory in dominating fashion, leading 96 laps, that was Adam Benefiel. Jonathan Cadell with the 2nd place finish. Colin Allman with the 3rd. John Theodore in 4th. Nathan Jurgensen in 5th. Mason Stiver in 6th. Jonathan Dickert in 7th. Anthony Fredericks in 8th. John Groh in 9th. And Brian Zimmerman in the top 10.
Finishing in the 11th position is Derek Conley. Ricky Hart Jr. finishing in 12th. 13th was Scott Wise. Aaron Rodgers finishing 14th. 15th was Tim Marlowe. Kevin Hill finishing 16th. 17th was Gary Cronowed. 18th was Randy Watkins. And not starting the race in 19th was Paul Bliss, Kyle Lowry, and rounding out the field in 21st was Logan Clampett.
All right, so that is the results, and I think we do have a couple of these drivers available to talk to, but we'll start at the top. And Brandon, I'll give it to you. I think he's doing his, actually, we're going to let him do that momentarily. As you can see right now, Adam Benefiel, he is going around the Chicagoland Speedway in reverse, and of course reminiscent of Alan Kowicki. He started that back in 1988, I do believe, after his first win, and of course, we tragically lost him in 1993, and always fun and always a good tribute and something good to see these drivers doing this Polish victory lap. But we're going to let him do that. We'll start at the bottom of the podium, and Brandon, I think you have Colin Allman.
Colin, you finished in the 3rd position tonight, man. Tell us how you feeling after this race tonight.
No, it was a lot of fun. I thought at the beginning there I had a shot at beating Adam. I mean, I'm just a short track guy. This isn't really my scene, but I've seen some of Cater's stuff on YouTube and stuff like that. So I saw that he passed, and figured I'd come run this race, and had a lot of fun tonight.
Well, you know, you had a fast car all night long, and for being just a short track guy, you really showed a lot of speed out here on the big track. So, I mean, you know, going into this thing tonight, what were your expectations, really?
I didn't really have any expectations. I just wanted to finish the race and stay out of the wall. I didn't accomplish that goal, but at least I finished the race and finished in a respectable position. Like me and Madam were messing with each other before the race. We both run the super stuff, and he said I congratulated him on the pole, and he said welcome to my scene, and he wore us out tonight for sure.
Well, you know, you had an awesome run tonight. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank for shout out to?
I'll just give the shout out to the guys for putting on this race, man. It was really cool for them to put on this race, and had a lot of fun with it. Got a shout out to everyone watching. I think my mom's watching, dad's watching, girlfriend's watching. I'm sure there's a couple other people I'm missing that are watching it, but yeah, I had a lot of fun tonight, and thank you guys for broadcasting it, and thanks you guys for putting on the race. It was cool to run this race. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you, Colin. Ladies and gentlemen, your third place finisher, Colin Allman.
Well, now, go ahead, sir.
I was gonna say, I believe, Corey, you've caught up to our second place finisher, Jonathan Cadell.
All right, Jonathan, it was a solid second place here tonight, and of course, I don't think anybody had absolutely anything for Benefiel. He was just in his own zip code, just couldn't touch him. But you seem to be the best of the rest, and obviously that was what the scoreboard shows. So, what was it like here at Chicago here tonight?
It was great because David gave us a great setup. It was a pretty good setup there, snug. You know, it got a little loose there after a while, but wasn't too bad. But anytime you get a black stripe showing up, it's always a race for second. And I actually reminded Adam about the race about 3 hours ago, and I'm kind of regretting that one now.
Yeah, that would have been actually, if that was the case, that would have been a really good race for the win, because there was a lot of good racing, man, with you guys. I know the 31 was up there. You had Colin and a couple other guys racing hard in those top positions. So what was it like? I mean, obviously, this track, you can go all over the place. So where was the line for you here tonight?
Hugging that white line down there. I tried to move up a little bit, sometimes by design and sometimes just by driving it in too hard. And I had to hug that white line. That's where the most time was. But yeah, we had a pretty good battle going on for second between me and Nate and I think Colin there. I think it just came down to strategy there at the end.
Yeah, so obviously, man, a race of tribute, a race of honor in David and David Cater's honor, and it must feel good to come out with a second place finish. So being said, anything you want to add or anything that anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Give a shout out to David's family in this time of sorrow, and let them know that he's a good man. I never really got to race with him personally much, but I know his influence is really felt across the sim racing community. And thanks to all the guys for putting on this show and you guys for broadcasting it. It just shows you how awesome the sim racing community is, man.
Definitely true words, Jonathan. Congrats on the second, and hopefully we'll be seeing you around the community at some point.
Heck yeah, buddy.
And now your winner of tonight's race, and Brandon has caught up with Adam Benefiel.
Yeah, standing down in victory lane now. He's out of the race car. Your winner on the night, Adam Benefiel. And Adam, how you feeling after this race here tonight?
It was fun. I'm a little wore out. It was free on the long run, but man, it was so much fun to drive. It really was. I made the comment to I was sitting up there with Dickert and Cadell the whole race, and I made the comment. They informed me that this was the last set that David built, and feeling the car and the way it does throughout the run, like I got to work with David in my earlier iRacing career, and it's got you can tell that David Cater had his hands on it. It's got some of those old tricks and feels that you used to feel back in the day when I was riding for him.
Man, oh man, you know, you talk about that, and you talk about working with David earlier in your career. How does this race feel to you to be in victory lane right now?
It feels really good, honest to God. David, he kind of reached out to me, you know, before any other big teams gave me a chance. I was still learning, and he seen something and stuck his hand out to me, and you know, gave me a chance to run with him. And he the one thing that I always thought that I loved about David was the racecraft. I mean, it was second to none. He really knew how to manage. You know, that's the thing he taught me, was management. And you gotta have, yeah, you can be fast 10 in, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do in the last 10 laps of those runs? What do you have left if you put it out on the table that, you know, there at the beginning? So he taught me really how to stay patiently aggressive and just race smart. And I felt like I applied that tonight. Kind of just waited on the car to come to me, and you know, when it did, it was on.
Absolutely. And you know, Adam, looking at how far you've come in your career in iRacing so far, David, you know, giving you that opportunity earlier in your career, this win's got to mean a lot to you. And, you know, during the race, you were showing a lot of domination out there. What was your plan really going into this thing?
Yeah, I was really, honest to God, I don't know where that Q lap came from. I didn't even feel like I hit the lap good. And, but I didn't know anything. I didn't run any laps prior to it. We had the pro race last night, and, honest to God, if it wasn't for Cadell, I thought the race was tomorrow night. So, luckily, I seen that, and so I was totally unprepared. I was going to run tonight and run laps on it because I thought it was tomorrow. So I just went into it blind, got a handful of laps in practice, but I was just going to ride and see what the car was going to do, and try to figure out how I needed to adjust to, you know, to win. But honest to God, like, you know, I let Colin go right there at the beginning and kind of got my feet under me and seen, you know, the characteristics of what the car is going to do throughout the run, and got an idea. And once we, you know, took the lead back, it was kind of just hitting your marks from then on out. And that's what we did, and luckily it worked out.
Dude, you put on a freaking clinic out there tonight. Is there anyone that you'd like to thank or shout out to for being in victory lane here tonight?
Yeah, you know, I really want to thank Lowline. I know this is, you know, David was with him. This was the last team he was with, and it's really cool how they came together and put this race together. And the turnout and all the money that it raised for his family. It's just thank you to Lowline for doing that. And thank you to my beautiful wife and my 2 kids that worked out for me tonight. I got Broski passed out on the floor beside me, but thanks to them for letting me come do this race. It meant a lot to me. And you know, just everybody back at the team, and you guys for broadcasting it, man. And everybody just keep David's family, and, you know, keep them in your prayers. And just it's tough and out of nowhere. So just yeah, keep praying, and you know, if there's ever anything that his family needs, I was friends with him on Facebook. If you contact me, I'll do whatever I need to do to help. So.
Thank you so much, Adam. Awesome job tonight. And congratulations on everything with this and your career, and of course with the help of David. And hopefully we'll be talking to you soon. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner on the night, Adam Benefiel.
Thanks, guys.
All right, so again, as we wrap up coverage here tonight of on PTR TV and iRacing Live, Adam Benefiel with the dominating performance here at Chicago, and David Kaner's final drive, brought to you by Lowline Racing. And Special thanks to David Morin, who helped put this race on, and of course the other event brought to you on the Esports Network by Global Sim Racing Channel. Thanks to everybody involved, and again, our best wishes and all of our thoughts go to David Cater's family in this time of need. A great man who is going to be lost. He's going to be missed by many people in the world, not just the sim racing community. Obviously, he was a great man just in every aspect of the word, and you can help out the family, as they most certainly could use every last bit of help. There's a GoFundMe link in the description of this video. So we're gonna neglect the sponsors tonight. That's not what this night's about. We are just appreciative of the opportunity to cover this race, and again, thoughts with David Cater's family. So signing out of the booth here tonight is Corey Silva and Brandon Krutz. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.
Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time, everybody.